Well, 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 it actually happened. CM Punk screwed Drew McIntyre in Scotland, in Glasgow. Wow, what a show. Clash at the Castle, I gotta say, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I'm happy with the outcomes of most of the matches. My predictions did okay, and we had a couple of surprises, and we had some interesting stuff, of course, transpire in the main event. Now, CM Punk is on the media scrum right now. Somebody pointed out that he said he's not going to be on Raw, but he's going to go to SmackDown instead, which is in Chicago. So I'm going to predict right now that Drew McIntyre will be in Chicago as well, and he will be looking for blood. Now, from what I could gather in the short amount of time since the show has ended on social media, it looks like it's kind of split. It sounds like there's a lot of people kind of unhappy about this. Some are fine with it. Some expected it, but others are really struggling, I think, to get past the fact that Drew McIntyre got screwed over again here in a show that is very close to where he lives or where he is from in Scotland. As it was, I forgot where it was last time with the Roman match. And a lot of fans thought that would be crazy to do that to him again. But I have argued that with the feud with CM Punk and how personal that is, and the shots that both men, specifically Drew, was taking at Punk at first, making fun of his injury, and even as recently as like last week or whatever, Drew was at WWE headquarters and had them put up a giant image of Punk crying. So the trolling is never ending between these two. It's been going on for months, and I don't see how the fans can sit here and expect any other match at SummerSlam other than Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. But because of the King and Queen of the Ring and the stipulation with those winners, we know that Gunther is getting the title shot at SummerSlam. So that right there is what we were really trying to dissect on the predictions. I said, it comes down to a couple different things. Number one, if CM Punk is in Scotland, then Priest wins. If Punk is not in Scotland, Drew wins because Drew beat Balor on Monday, which meant no Judgment Day members at ringside. There could be no interference from Damian Priest's side of things, which means it would be a one-on-one. And if Punk isn't there to stop it, I don't see what would stop Drew beating Priest in his home country. I just don't see how that's possible. So the only thing that was going to stop McIntyre from winning was CM Punk. But if McIntyre were to win, Gunther has the title shot at SummerSlam. It can't be Drew versus Gunther. It just can't. Good mic work. What's wrong with Drew and Gunther? Well, nothing's wrong with the match in and of itself. We've seen the match a couple of times. I think they even worked last year's SummerSlam. Nothing wrong with that match. It would be great, but that's not the match that they've been building towards for the past several months. Everything that we've been seeing from Punk and Drew on TV is setting up a major clash at a major pay-per-view. The only thing that would stop Punk and Drew from happening at SummerSlam would be Punk not being cleared to wrestle and still being injured. But since he's been involved and he's been, showing up without that arm brace for quite a while now, it's, pretty much assumed that he's probably good to go. He has gotten physical a couple of times, and we saw him get physical tonight. So SummerSlam, Punk and Drew has always, ever since WrestleMania, been on my radar. So when we considered all of those things, when we, applied that to the main event tonight, trying to predict that all week long or for the past, month or whatever, it was kind of hard because of all of those factors. And in my predictions, I said, hey, if CM Punk is going to Scotland, he's not just going to hide in a trailer. They're not going to fly him all the way over there to stay hidden. He's going to get spotted. He will be somewhere. He'll be sightseeing. He'll be shopping, whatever. He's going to get noticed. And then if it's leaked that he's there, that's going to potentially spoil the outcome of the main event. And that's pretty much what happened, because earlier this morning there was photos circulating from CM Punk at some store where he's took a picture with a fan or whatever. So he was there. Why would he be there? Why would he be there other than to interfere in this match? So that's one kind of negative of social media, that I had a feeling that it would spoil this. That's why I feel like it would be better if Punk screwed over Drew here in the States, where he could stay more hidden. But if he's going to make a trip like that, he's going to be seen. There's no way he's not going to be seen. So why the hell did he fly over there? I actually was tweeting this during the show. I wouldn't have put it past WWE, based on what we saw recently with Ricochet and them kind of keeping us on our toes with that situation. If WWE knows that the fans are going to just assume that Punk is going to interfere if he's spotted over there, stick him on the plane, fly him over there, have him go out and be seen, be spotted, let the internet leak it, and then he doesn't show up in the match at all. And I actually thought that could be a possibility. I thought that Triple H and CM Punk, knowing the internet the way they do and being a little bit more dialed into that, than maybe some other promoters or heads of companies in the past, they might just fly Punk all the way over there for the sole purpose of throwing us off. Because if we see Punk there, and Punk even posted on Instagram prior to the match, a picture of him with like a Glasgow sign. So he was even teasing that he was going to interfere. And so that was actually telling me that he might not. I was like, I wouldn't put it past them at all for Punk to make this whole trip over there and not do shit just to keep us guessing. I would have appreciated that. But as it turned out, as we saw, pretty clever way of doing it too, because we got a ref bump and we're like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Something's going to happen. And then Drew hits the Claymore and then Punk rolls in. And I got to commend WWE and Priest and McIntyre for positioning themselves perfectly and the camera angle to catch CM Punk sliding in as the referee, but only from behind. You could tell with his shoes and with his hair that it was CM Punk, but the fact you didn't see his face, you just saw 1, 2, and then the camera pans to reveal that it's CM Punk and the look on McIntyre's face. Well done. I liked it. I think if anybody's really upset about this outcome, it's probably just because maybe you're a Drew fan or maybe you're from Scotland and you really, really wanted this for him, like a lot of those fans did. And I can understand that. But in terms of the pro wrestlingness of that finish, it was great. And it should dump a ton of fuel on this already heated rivalry. And Punk now has cost Drew twice. So I have a feeling if they still need to kill some time before SummerSlam, that this Friday on SmackDown, because somebody revealed in the chat, I'll say hello to everybody in a minute, just giving you my initial thoughts. Somebody revealed in the chat that Punk mentioned in the scrum that he's not going to be at the Raw in Corpus Christi on Monday. He's going to be on SmackDown on Friday in Chicago. So I think McIntyre chases Punk to Chicago and puts an ever-loving hell of a beating on him, like something fierce, right? Like, get a hold of him, beat him down. Punk embarrassed Drew in front of his homeland, right? So Punk getting embarrassed or beaten up or decimated in front of the Chicago crowd by Drew, who's now trespassing on SmackDown, just like Punk was trespassing as a referee, and beats Punk down so badly, knocking Punk out of action for a couple of weeks to buy time to get on the other side of Money in the Bank when Punk comes back to set up the SummerSlam match. That could be what they do. I also think Drew is going to want to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I think he's going to make a pitch that he deserves to be in there, and maybe that's when Punk makes his return and screws him out of the Money in the Bank. Imagine that. Screws him out of the title, then screws him out of the title again, then screws him out of the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now you got yourselves a match at SummerSlam. So I feel like this Friday on SmackDown, Punk is in danger. Punk, you in danger, girl. And he is. I think McIntyre is going to get him some. And, another hint tonight that McIntyre might not be winning is when he was coming to the ring, the announcers were referencing initials on his wristband or whatever. I guess his wife did not make the trip. They said she was recovering from something. I'm not sure what. But, his wife wasn't there. That was a whole big part of the first match. All you had to do was go right off into the sunset with your wife, and you couldn't let you let your ego get the better of you, and it cost you the title. Now his wife isn't even there, so I think Drew's celebration might be a little better if he had actual family there. I think Cody had more family there than McIntyre. So all signs were kind of making me think that Priest was going to wind up retaining. Now, in my predictions, because I did not know the status of CM Punk, I said in my predictions, if I know if Punk is going to be there or not, it'll be much easier to make this prediction. So I really wasn't predicting the winner of the match. I was predicting whether or not Punk would be there, and I predicted Punk would not. Therefore, I predicted Drew McIntyre to win the title tonight. It's the only match I got wrong in my predictions. Your boy picked Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Who else did? Raise your hand. None of you. Just me. The booking was a little weird, but I can kind of appreciate them giving those two the feel-good moment. And I kind of got the Sammy and Gable match wrong a little bit. I thought it was going to be hard for Gable to secure another IC title match if he loses again. So I kind of had him winning via DQ with maybe Otis doing something and attacking him or whatever. But he actually lost. But this looks like it should blow off finally on Monday. Enough of this shit. It's dragging on. So hopefully on Monday, that will be the end of Alpha Academy. And Chad Gable, who apparently did re-sign with the WWE today, will be forming his new alliance with the Creed brothers. And that might also be why R-Truth and The Miz are holding on to those pizza titles for so long, because they already have a team in mind for them to drop them to. So I think Team Angle, Team Gable could be dripping and covered in gold almost right out of the gate. You know, if you put the IC title on Gable, either at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, and then you belt up the Creeds behind him, good looking faction there on Monday Night Raw, and it might be perfect timing since Judgment Day might be on the verge of imploding as well. So lots to kind of think about and talk about, and let me know, please, what you thought of the show in the chat here. Welcome, everyone. Happy Saturday afternoon to you. For me here on the West Coast, I had to awaken at, or had to be awake by 11 a.m. this morning, so that wasn't bad. Some of those Saudi shows are a little bit rough. They had a 2-hour kickoff as well for Clash at the Castle here for some unknown reason, since it was only a 5-match card. But anyway, wow. Let me say hello to everybody. Let me just do a refresh here and get us cooking. Good to see channel members like Chris Barrera, Zane G, Population 420, and JJ Leg. Early ones chiming in here. Population says, I don't know if you noticed, no LED on the ring or around the barricade. No, I actually did not notice that tonight. Good to see Zach Palga is here as well. All sports are scripted who completely missed the show. Wow. Tatanani's here. So is Stone Cold and Isaac. We got Big J. We have Max Pokebra and Nick Musser. Cody got to deal with the bootleg bloodline. Yeah, we're going to be talking about Cody and AJ in just a minute. Jimmy Anderson, all the way from Sweden. What's going on, man? Good evening, everyone. This show was good, but a bit anticlimactic. As soon as the referee was wiped out, we all knew what was going to happen to Drew. That is a fair point. That was one of the common points that I was seeing here, you know, the first 10 or 15 minutes after the show on social media, was that you kind of knew once that ref bump happened. I was hoping for like a little bit of an extra twist here, but I do like Punk coming out with the ref shirt. I did kind of get a kick out of that. But the dick kick was enough to put Drew down, and he succumbed to Damian Priest. And I guess once the ref bump happened, it was a little bit predictable. But I would even argue once Punk was spotted there, it was a little bit predictable. It would have been better to try to keep him hidden, and fans just assume he's not there, and then shows up. It might have been a little bit more effective. And plus the crowd, you know, Drew is the heel in this and Punk is essentially the face. But, you know, here in Scotland, it's actually reversed. So Punk was getting some boos, but he was also celebrating with the crowd after the match. So fans didn't know what to think at the end of this thing. We got Denny Downbad as well in the house. Good to see you. Gilbert and Jay Lambo and Tony in the house. David Brown, always happy to see you here. Who else we got in the house? We've got King Azza. We got Jacob A. And we have Jay Lambo. Did I get you? I think I did. And Scottish choke artist. I am not going to attempt to pronounce that name. Arthur Jones is here. And my friend Brandon McNeil. Good to see you. Ben Espinoza is in the house as well. Daniel Malcolm. Good to see you. Population 420 gifting out a Good Mic Work Commentaries membership to Jay Lambo. Thanks for that, Population. You are the best. Welcome to the family again, Jay Lambo. We have Bonkers LFC, heel Damian versus heel Gunther, or Jay will cash in Money in the Bank on Damian, or does Finn win Money in the Bank and cash in on Damian? Yeah, you can see, you know, dissension with maybe with Priest and Balor. You know, the way they're setting up Jay Uso in the Money in the Bank, it almost feels like he's the odds-on favorite. And that could be interesting if he does have that Money in the Bank when the bloodline and when Roman and Rock comes back. And if he's holding that thing when Roman and Rock have a title shot, that could be a big deal. Heel Damian and heel Gunther, though, doesn't feel that right either unless Priest is a babyface going into SummerSlam, which he might be, and then Gunther puts him down. But I think Gunther's got to win the title at SummerSlam, at least in my mind. Oh, yeah, Jimmy, isn't it 3 times now? Oh, yeah, Jimmy. I guess it is. What was the 3rd time I'm missing with Punk? He eliminated Drew from the Rumble. Then he cost him at WrestleMania. What am I missing? What else did he do? I kind of forgot. The new one is here. Appreciate the 5 from you. I guess Scotland didn't have muffins, so he bought donuts at the scrum instead. That's funny. I did peek at him at the scrum. I'm surprised he wasn't attacked at the scrum, but he was up there eating donuts, which is pretty hilarious. Roman Stone, also here. Good to see you, my friend. JJ, I think I got you. Justin Fleming is here, and we also have Shell Shock and Jermaine Blackwood. Good to see you. Mac Gooley, or Malk Gooley. Hope you're doing well. Also, yeah, so we're getting like B's and C's. Nobody's really giving this thing an A+. I just still had a good time watching it. I think it's because it's a 5-match card. These are very easy. They're very easy watches. All 5 matches were relatively fun. They didn't bore you to death. You didn't get burnt out. So I think that's why I kind of, maybe enjoyed the show a little bit more. Crazy J, Andy Linnell is here as well. Ramon Coffee, good to see you. Stone Cold 10X has got $5 for us. Thank you, my friend. Drew wins Money in the Bank and cashes in to win the title since that happened to him twice. That would be a good story, and we did mention that in the predictions that I could see McIntyre winning the briefcase. And if he won the briefcase and let's just say, for example, cashed it in on Priest, I'm pretty sure they would be the first 2 guys to cash in on each other. One guy cashes in the briefcase to win the title, and then the guy he beat wins the Money in the Bank and then cashes his Money in the Bank in on the guy that beat him. That would, I think, be a first, right? I know it's been 20 plus years now of Money in the Banks, but I don't recall that happening. So that could certainly play a role. And I think on Monday, I'm assuming Drew is going to absolutely insist that he's in Money in the Bank. He's going to choke Adam Pearce and say, put me in Money in the Bank or I'm going to fucking kill you. I think it's going to go some way like that. Who else is here? Yachiro, good to see you. Still a lot of shout outs to do. Always happy to see you. Chris Ludeck has got 5 for us. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for the help on X, of course. Can you give me a link to that application? Also, I won't rest until we get up here together. Right on. Well, just Google it, man. Just Google GIMP, download the latest version. You'll be all set there. Easy as pie to do. We've got, who else? So I got all these shout outs. Okay, I've seen all of you. Oh, man. All right. Funeral clothes for all sports are scripted. Then 20 minutes into Youngstown for Collision. Wow, you're going to Collision tonight. You've had a busy day, man. All the best to you, as always, my friend. Daniel Berry Sports and Jose Lopez. No, you ain't late. We just got started. And I've given you my initial thoughts on the pay-per-view and the main event and Punk and Drew and SummerSlam and Money in the Bank a little bit, but we haven't gone through each match yet, and we are about to do that now. So welcome to your WWE Clash at the Castle 2024 review. It was a pretty decent show, although I think somewhat predictable. I thought Cody and AJ did really good, maybe a little bit of an anticlimactic ending to that one as well, along with the main event. And then the stuff in the middle, I guess, was okay, but I'm going to give this show a solid B. I thought it was entertaining, and they did open with what I predicted. I said that in the predictions that if McIntyre and Priest is going on last, which it should, otherwise you're really going to give the ending away, then I think Cody, since it's only a 5-match card, Cody and AJ should open, and they did. They opened up with the I Quit match, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles, and this one was really good. I love the intensity. AJ just looked super intense and sweaty and just ripped, and these guys were beating the hell out of each other. Both of them got busted open. And eventually, like, when I was thinking about this match, we talked about that in the predictions. Cody or AJ has got the calf crusher. Cody doesn't really have any sort of submission. So I felt like the type of finish we would get in a match like this would be one that we saw, where I think I might have even predicted steps. I forgot what I said in the predictions, but I said something along the lines of, I think the finish will go along the lines of, Cody about to smash AJ's brains in, then he has no choice but to say, I quit. We also mentioned the same thing for Cody because his mom was at ringside. So AJ could threaten his mom, hey, I'm going to bash your mom's brains in with this chair unless you say I quit, and then Cody has no choice. We thought it could go that way as well, but one thing I didn't think we were going to see was maybe a submission, so that kind of didn't surprise me. AJ did bust out the handcuffs, though. He had Cody Rhodes handcuffed behind his back and was beating the hell out of him. Cody was able to get somehow the handcuffs, because they did have some wide slack on them. He was able to get them in front of himself, and when he was able to knock AJ down or neutralize him, the keys were laying in the ring. He crawled over to the keys, uncuffed himself, and then really started hulking up for his finish and, for his recovery here and comeback. So AJ gets the cuffs on him. Cody completely turns the tables, beating the hell out of him a lot, winds up slapping the handcuffs on AJ and handcuffing him now to, I think, the second rope or the ropes. And AJ's helpless. So Cody starts to go in on AJ with the chair. And AJ, mind you, isn't being cowardly in this match at all. He had several times in the match where he was asked if he wants to quit, and he said, "Fuck you, Cody," and that was when Cody was standing right over him. So AJ was mostly fearless through this match, but I feel like he probably felt like he had no way out once they got to this point and he was handcuffed, and after he was worn out a little bit with various objects, Cody goes to the outside of the ring to retrieve the steel steps from the outside, brings them in the ring, lifts them over his head, and threatens to bash AJ Styles, and that's when he quits. Cody slams down the steps, celebrates with the title on the steps, and defeats AJ Styles in a pretty good I Quit match. I thought it was pretty intense. There was the Cody cutter that Cody hit near the end. I thought was one of the best looking ones he's ever hit, and the way AJ sold it. These two guys are pros. I'm really happy that before AJ retired, that we got to get a series of matches between him and Cody Rhodes in the WWE for the championship. I mean, these are big matches. We're going to look back at these matches, I think this one and the Backlash match, fondly one day, even though they were both relatively predictable. And I didn't even love the build up to the second match, the way Cody got duped in that bogus retirement. I thought that was a little bit lame, but the match here delivered. Cody wins the title. And then after AJ Styles quits, before Cody celebrates, he still has the steps in his hand, and he looks over at his mom, who just says, "Hit him." And AJ was over there taunting and fucking with Cody's mom a lot during the match, being extremely cruel to her. So Cody looked over at his mom. Mom gives him the green light, and he smashes AJ with the steps anyway, and then celebrates as champion. Now, as Cody Rhodes is leaving the ringside area, and he's celebrating down the aisleway, while his music plays, Solo Sikoa shows up right behind him and just turns up, and Cody just sees him right there, and then Cody sees Solo, and then Tama and Tonga Loa run out and attack Cody, and he is swarmed. But it didn't take long for Cody to get some help, because Kevin Owens and Randy Orton showed up to run off the bloodline and help out Cody, and I'm like, aha. And then they do that little spot where Randy Orton looks right down at Cody's title like, Now, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes has been on our SummerSlam radar for quite a while now. And I said that after King of the Ring, I said before King of the Ring, before the King of the Ring finals, that I believed that both King of the Ring finalists are going to get title matches at SummerSlam. This winner gets a title shot. Doesn't really matter with Randy and Gunther, because I think they're both going to get title shots. And they might have been setting this up here. So now what I think we're obviously going to get is a 6-man match. Cody, KO, and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline. Do you do this at Money in the Bank, or do you just do it on TV? I feel like you might just do it on TV, do it on SmackDown, and then maybe, because I don't really see how you're going to get a third match out of Cody and AJ, maybe you do Cody and Solo at Money in the Bank for the title, or Solo attempts to get the championship or whatever. And of course he fails. And then at SummerSlam, you get Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. So I don't know what they're setting up here for. If it's more, Cody being back associated with the Bloodline again. Are they setting up for a Roman return? Is it going to be Cody and Roman in a rematch at SummerSlam? Cody and Roman, you think, are going to have a rematch at some point, but it's probably not going to be at WrestleMania 41. I kind of hope Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins face at WrestleMania 41. But maybe something's going to happen here for SummerSlam. If not, they're just linking up Cody with Kevin Owens and Randy, so Randy and Cody can begin their deal. Maybe, I don't know if Randy's going to turn on Cody. I feel like Randy Orton should be a heel if he's going to face Cody at SummerSlam. But if they do a 6-man match, maybe Randy Orton turns on Cody, hits him with an RKO, and then Solo Sikoa spikes Cody and pins him, which earns him a title shot at Money in the Bank. And then Cody can go into SummerSlam to face Orton. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But based on that ending when Cody was leaving tells me that his issue with AJ is probably done, and now he's beginning whatever this is going to be with either the Bloodline or with Randy Orton. And I feel like it's probably going to be Randy Orton. Otherwise, why would they, even be associating with each other right now? I think that's probably the match it's going to lead to, and that's fine with me because, Cody has beaten a lot of guys, and when you look at the SmackDown roster, who is over there outside of a Roman Reigns coming back that would make a suitable SummerSlam opponent for Cody? Not Solo, not in my mind anyway. I don't have a problem with Cody and Solo, but maybe do that at Money in the Bank and not SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam should be a bigger match, and I think Randy Orton and Cody, or Cody and Roman, would be a much bigger match than that. So we'll see how this all goes down and starts playing out on television in the next couple of TVs. Jimmy Anderson's got 5 more from us. Thank you, my friend. I might be wrong, but didn't Punk count 3 with the injured arm? Yeah, well, that's my point. I don't know if the arm is injured anymore. He doesn't have the brace on it. I think in storyline and kayfabe, they're trying to make it sound like Punk isn't cleared yet. Wade Barrett was furious about that. He's not even cleared, and he's interrupting, and he should be fired and all that, so he's pissed. But I think at this point, he's going to be mostly healed unless McIntyre gets a hold of him Friday on SmackDown and puts a major hurting on him, which I think is a very, very likely possibility. All right, so after Cody and AJ, we had a monumental upset, an upset that I actually predicted. We talked about this on Thursday in the predictions. Women's tag team titles on the line in a triple threat. Jade and Bianca Belair defending against Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler and Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Now, in my predictions, I said that I am no longer going to refer to Alba Fire as Melba Toast out of respect for the tragedy that she suffered losing her mother last month when her mom was visiting her in Orlando and got hit and killed by a car. And horrible tragedy. They didn't really talk about this in WWE circles. And I think this story only made the news, or we became aware of it in the last few days. So I had no idea that Alba Fire, Kaylee Ray, who was a much better name, by the way, Kaylee Ray dealt with that tragedy. And the fact that they're both Scottish wrestlers, obviously WWE putting them on the card, the only reason they had this spot was because of where the show is. But I said I'd have no problem with giving them, the hometown feel-good win. Might be something nice the company could do for Alba Fire, who just experienced some tragedy. And they did finally, during the match, or after the match, or both, reference the loss that she suffered with her mom. Because up until now, I haven't heard WWE say shit about this, to the point where I even checked several sites to make sure I wasn't reading this wrong, because I had not heard anybody else talking about this. So when you think about her mom and the tragic death, surprising death, shocking death, that happened just last month, I said, you know what? Why not? You're in a triple threat situation. Jade and Bianca can drop the titles here without being pinned. It's the only way you're going to be able to get the titles off of them, because there's not a team formidable enough to beat them on their own. So the only way to really effectively get the belts off Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair is to either do it in a triple threat where you can protect them, or tie in Jade and Bianca's inevitable split into the finish. Like if there's a miscommunication or one of them accidentally hits the other and then they lose and then there's an argument, that type of thing. We've seen it 10 trillion times in wrestling. I thought it would be something like that. And that's kind of what we saw here. Now, Jade and Bianca, this is the first time somebody pointed out that they really didn't have matching gear. So maybe that was a sign. Also, another little hint. During the Cody Rhodes and AJ match, when Cody was making his entrance at the very beginning of the show, the production team accidentally flashed a graphic for the women's tag team champions, and it said talent name here. And I'm like, why wouldn't it just say Jade and Bianca? Why would it say talent name here? Jade and Bianca have been champions for a while. If they're planned on winning the titles tonight, it would probably just say Jade and Bianca on there. it wouldn't have that placeholder enter talent name. It might not have anything to do with it, but that, looking back in retrospect, I think was a little hint that maybe we could get a title change here since they flashed that accidental graphic up on the screen. Now, Jade Cargill, she did have a little bit of a hiccup. She dove off. She tried to come in the ring on a springboard, kind of stumbled, fell flat on her face in the ring. Not great. And there's a couple of other moments in there where she looked a little confused. Shayna Baszler locks the Karafuda clutch on Jade at one point, and Jade has got her hand up on Shayna's arm, and she's kind of going like this. And the announce team is like, I think she's tapping out. And I think if the referee, Jessica Carr, would have seen that, she might have had no choice but to call for the bell. I don't think Jade was tapping out. I think she was just trying to, psych herself up. But you got to remember, when you do that, if you do anything that resembles a hand tapping motion, that's going to be considered a tap out, and you don't want to be doing that. So referee didn't see it anyway. It doesn't matter. And Bianca Belair came in with the save, hitting a 450, kind of knees first on Baszler to break up the Karafuda clutch on Jade. Now we get this big double team move. I forgot what the Good Brothers move is called when they kind of bridge the guy over both of them and then they twist him. They pick up, I guess it's Shayna Baszler into a double team move like that. And they come down and Bianca hits her with a DDT. And then Jade Germans her backwards after that type of move. And Shayna just hits the mat. And as Jade is going for the cover, Isla Dawn comes in and Germans Jade out of the ring, jumps on Shayna, and gets the pin and wins the match for her team. Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, brand new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They have not been on television at all since they dropped the NXT that unified these titles, right? That's how long it's been. They've been completely invisible. Now, granted, some of this in the last month is due to the tragedy that Alba Fire suffered, but what's the excuse before that? So for those scratching their heads about the booking here, that it kind of came out of nowhere, you're right, it did, but at the same time, it's still a nice feel-good story for these two, and I think that it could be possibly a short-lived run. Now, WWE has to decide if they want to put the belts back on Jade and Bianca, because if this show wasn't in Scotland and Alba Fire wouldn't have lost her mother, would any of us expected these two to be tag team champions right now? Probably not. So if WWE intended on giving them this little feel-good run and then they immediately drop the belts back to Jade and Bianca, let's say, as early as Raw on Monday, that would give you a really good indication that Triple H and WWE only did this for them in the crowd. You're champions for 48 hours. Give us our belts back, please. Now, hopefully it goes a little bit longer than that for these two, but when you book a team to win the titles out of nowhere when there's been no build and they haven't been building up wins on TV or been doing anything, it's kind of like, okay, where'd they come from? Now they're champions. And does WWE now has got the belts off of Jade and Bianca. So if you put them back on them again, that means you're going to have to find another one of these situations to take them off. Or is this going to end the alliance of Jade and Bianca? Are they going to agree to go their separate ways? Are they going to wrestle at SummerSlam? And that was one of the things I kind of predicted, that if they were to lose the belts here tonight, maybe they could tie in a split and there would be miscommunication, something goes wrong. I would love it if Bianca just flat turned heel on Jade Cargill and it's Bianca and Jade, and then Bianca cheats to win at SummerSlam, beats Jade Cargill, then goes on a crazy run throughout the rest of the year, wins the Royal Rumble, and then challenges babyface world champion Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. But I don't know if Bianca Belair ever wants to go heel. She kind of has the John Cena thing going on where she really does want to be a role model for young girls, the same way John Cena wanted to be role model for kids in general. I understand that, but you're creatively robbing yourself of work that we all know you can do. I think Bianca would be great with a killer instinct and a cocky attitude. Oh my God, cut that stupid fucking braid. I would be so into that. But Bianca isn't wrestling for 47-year-old Greg. She's wrestling for 11-year-old Tanya. And it's just different. Me and Tanya are different people. So what I might not want might not be what's best for the youngins. You know what I mean? But I would love if we got that from Bianca. Now, with them losing the titles, what do you guys think? Do you think they could set up Jade and Bianca at SummerSlam? I don't even know how you do that match without turning one of them heel. If it's a babyface match, why? Bianca, quite frankly, is going to outshine Jade. And I think the only way to justify Jade really beating Bianca would be if she was a heel, and otherwise, if you just do this babyface match and then Bianca just beats her, then what, So I'm not sure what the plans are going forward with Jade and Bianca, or if they are going to maybe get a rematch. You would assume they're going to get a rematch. Assuming they want one, they're going to get a rematch, and maybe that's where you do some miscommunication. Maybe that's where Bianca accidentally eats a pump kick from Jade Cargill, and that begins their dissension. And then they're out of the tag team picture altogether now, and now you've got that rectified, because having them as tag team champions was just like having Chyna as the world champion in 2001. As the women's world champion, she had no challengers, and then she just evaporated and left the company, and the title was just vacated or whatever. So, I feel like you could see that, but Jade and Bianca, will they win the titles back and have a major title defense at SummerSlam? If they do, I don't know who it'll be against. I feel like a one-on-one match might be more likely, unless WWE isn't ready to do that match yet, and they want to hold off a little bit longer. But I would put Jade and Bianca on the biggest stage possible. But if my mind is already set on having Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair at next year's WrestleMania, then you got to get Bianca and Jade done on a different stage, but also as big of a stage as possible, and that would be SummerSlam. The only other stage I could think of maybe would be a Saudi show, but I don't know. Otherwise, Survivor Series, but we could have Team Jade and Team Bianca at Survivor Series or some shit like that. I don't know what we're going to see, but let me know all your ideas in the chat here. All right, after the women's tag team title match, it was time for Sami Zayn defending his Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable. During the entrances here, excuse me. During the entrances, sorry, one moment. We saw a Uncle Howdy glitch. The screen started going crazy, and we saw some text on the screen that said, "You were warned, massacre is coming." Now, we know that the last glitch and Easter egg QR code shit we saw, it had a countdown that ends Monday, during Monday Night Raw. So we're all expecting in Corpus Christi the debut or something of what this Uncle Howdy character is going to be. So we got another little tease of that here, and I guess there is a massacre coming. We will see. So Sami and Gable now for the IC title. We talked a lot about this. We already knew the finish was going to have something to do with Otis and Maxine and Alpha Academy because of everything they've been building up on television. I did not see Tozawa out here for this, now that I think about it. So he might not have made the trip. But we knew a lot of this was centered around Otis anyway, and that Gable probably would not walk out with the championship. Now, I was right about that. I was correct in my prediction that Sami Zayn would still be Intercontinental Champion, but I thought there was a pretty good chance we could see Otis turn on Gable, causing Sami to get disqualified, and Gable technically winning the match via DQ. That would make things a lot easier to accept in terms of giving him another championship match, because this has been his 5th IC title match since last August or September or whatever it was. 5th, mind you. So for him to lose again, how in the world, even if he got screwed, how is Pierce going to justify another match, unless it's Sami Zayn that says, okay, you can have one more or whatever. So I thought it might make a little bit more sense for Gable to win via DQ, but that's not what happened here. But I still think they're going to set things up the same way. So the match happens. It's a great match like we would expect it to be. And Maxine is out there. She's still hobbling around on that bad leg. And Gable has got Sami down almost like in 619 position. He starts to distract the referee and is instructing Maxine to hit Sami Zayn with the, I think with the belt. Yeah, she's got the belt in her hand, and Gable wants Maxine to smack Sami while he's distracting the ref, but she won't do it. She thinks about it. She won't do it. That pisses off Gable. He orders her to come up on the apron with her bad leg and everything. And so she's up there in the corner. Gable's giving her a hard time. Sami Zayn is in the other corner, and you can tell he's setting up for a haluva kick. And I'm like, oh, God, please don't kick poor Maxine's head off. He comes flying in. He almost hits Maxine. Gable ducks. He stops in just enough time to narrowly miss Maxine's pretty face with that haluva kick, and that allows Gable to hit him with a chaos theory for a very close near fall. So then after that near fall, Gable is pissed at Maxine again. Now he's on the outside of the ring, chewing her out, backing her up, backing her to the back, just getting right in her face. And then finally Otis steps in front, gets in front of Gable again. We've already seen this 4 damn times. And Zayn then nails Otis with a dive. He dives out of the ring, nails Otis, and then Chat hits a moonsault onto Sammy and Otis, and they're back in the ring. They wrestle for a little while longer. They're back on the outside again, and that's when Gable is knocked into Maxine's legs. Like she's like kind of on, she's got her back turned, and then Sammy kind of trips Gable. He falls and kind of chop blocks the knee of Maxine. She goes down. Otis now is furious. He picks up Maxine and carries her away like Hulk Hogan was carrying away Miss Elizabeth on the main event back in 1989. And that allows Gable enough time to be distracted and not see that Sammy is recovering. And when he turns around, he eats a haluva kick, and Sami Zayn retains the Intercontinental title. So that's that. That has to be the final loss for Chad Gable. I think now on Monday night, like we talked about in the predictions, there is no way this bullshit can extend past Monday. I was hoping that it would either come to an end here at the pay-per-view, or the beginning would start here and it would finish on Monday. And I'm assuming it's going to finish on Monday. We've been talking about this for months and months, that Chad Gable is going to dump Alpha Academy and join up with the Creed brothers. There is no reason to keep this going on any longer than Monday. So Corpus Christi better be the place where this happens. And like I said, once that does happen and Gable kicks out Alpha Academy and links up with the Creed brothers, then I think all 3 of them are going to win championships real quick. I think that's why The Miz and R-Truth have been holding on to those pizza belts for so long, is because they're holding them to pass to the Creeds. And if you get Gable as IC and the Creeds as tag team champions all together, in a little jumpsuit wearing faction, I think that will be fun, and that better happen on Monday. It better. Bayley defending her women's championship against Piper Niven was up next. And of course, this was, oh, do I not have Bayley on here? I didn't have, oh yeah, sorry. I never got Bayley up in here for y'all. My bad. Never even put Bayley in here. I didn't even show her any love. That's my fault. Bayley and Piper Niven was up next. Bayley defending her title. This one was the easiest match on the entire card to predict, because there is no way Bayley's going to lose the title to Piper Niven here. I mean, maybe Alba and Isla won the tags, but Piper, I just wasn't feeling it. Not with her gimmick with Chelsea Green. Plus, Nia Jax getting the shot at SummerSlam is another big telling thing here. Nia and Piper, heel and heel, would be a little weird at SummerSlam. Bayley would be a much better opponent for Nia Jax to defeat. So there was no way in my mind that Piper had any chance to win this match at all. Now, it had some funny moments in it because Chelsea Green got kicked out. She was trying to interfere too much. Referee kicked her out. She comes back later wearing a lucha mask, but wearing the same outfit. So it's the hottest luchador that's ever existed. Shows up at ringside and tries to get involved. She gets knocked off the apron. Piper put in a good match here. She had the hometown crowd behind her. You could definitely see that it was important to her. She looked even a tad bit nervous at times. And I think she did an interview recently where she told the story about getting on the card, where she had this whole speech prepared to go shoot her shot with Triple H. And when she approached him, he was like, let me guess, it's about the Clash, right? We're working on it. So they, that's kind of cool that WWE, if they have a lot of international talent on their roster. So when they do these international shows, if it happens to be in someone's hometown or someone's home country or home city or whatever, try to get them on the card, give them a moment. It's nice. So even though Piper was getting this, there was no way she was going to win here, and she didn't. But still pretty fun match here. Piper is a good fucking worker. She's somebody that can really turn it on when she wants to. Bayley got the win with, I guess, what was a kind of like a crucifix driver. got up on her in crucifix position, and then it looked like maybe Piper was going to go back with a Samoan drop, but then Bayley kind of like torqued and just drivered her down into crucifix position and got the win. Held her. This was the type of pin where you could have easily had a shoulder up, but like Randy Orton's was up at King of the Ring. Have they paid that off, by the way? Has Randy Orton said anything on a promo about that shoulder, or are they just forgetting that happened? Sidebar question there. But the pinning combination there was one that would normally look bad, but it didn't. Bayley had her leg pinned down perfectly. 1, 2, 3. Bayley picks up the win, retains her championship in a match that was no surprise whatsoever. And then, of course, that leaves us with the match we talked about a lot at the beginning. Damian Priest defending his World Heavyweight title against Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre got the big bagpipe entrance, and that was very nice. But even when he was making his entrance and the announcers were referring to the initial on his armband for his wife, and I'm like, his wife's not even there. I'm just not feeling it. PHIL. I'm just not feeling it. I just don't feel it. And like we talked about, the whole match was hinging on CM Punk. Because if he is spotted in Glasgow, why the fuck would he be in Glasgow? Why would he be in Scotland? There's no reason for him to be there unless it's to interfere in this match. What's he going to go over there for fun? And make a 20-hour flight or whatever the hell it is for fun? I thought that when Punk was spotted, and that was leaked earlier in the day, and then a couple of minutes before the main event started, Punk teased on Instagram that he was going to be interfering. And I'm like, this isn't like Punk. I have a feeling he might have made the trip to Scotland just to throw all of us off, and then he doesn't interfere at all. But I think we all, at the end of the day, knew better. The match was pretty good. Very scary rope spot with Damian Priest early in the match. He's doing this, I guess, McIntyre's on the outside by the announce table. Priest is in the ring, and he's going to go for, I guess, like a running springboard, like the thing, I forgot what it's called. You run up the ropes, or you get a running start, and then you springboard off the second rope over the top. And when he does that, his leg gets caught up and actually hangs him upside down on the ring apron. And it looked really, really scary. And his leg really kind of wrenched. He seemed to be fine from it. Drew McIntyre even went over there immediately and untangled him. And if you notice, after the finish of the match, there was a conversation between the two. I saw Priest talking to McIntyre for a good solid 20 seconds, and he was probably like, thanks for bailing me out. It looked like it was a nice moment between them after the match. But that was a real scary spot there. Priest is lucky that he didn't come down and injure his ankle or his leg, or worse, his knee. Jade Cargill is also lucky she didn't get injured in her botch earlier on as well. But this one looked way better. Jade just looked embarrassing. Priest was actually kind of cool looking the way he got himself tangled up in the ropes. I actually kind of liked it. He ended up catching Priest with a Claymore right in the middle, and I thought that might be it, but Priest actually did kick out. So the match up until that point was typical. We only had one near fall, and it actually was a near fall where I thought that might be it. But then we got the ref bump. We kind of got like two. We got one initial ref bump where he kind of just stumbled a little bit and kind of staggered him. And then we got the second ref bump. And as soon as that happened, we knew exactly what was going to go down. No referee. McIntyre then blasts Priest in the face with a Claymore. And he goes to pin him, and there's no referee. No referee, of course, until a new referee starts sprinting down to the ring, and they had such an excellent camera angle on this. It was a floor man camera man, and he's filming the pin, and then the referee slides in right in front of him to go 1, 2, 3, but all you see is the bottom of the shoes of the referee and the back of the referee's head. But you knew with the hair who that was. And I'm like, oh man, Punk's in with the 1-2 Shane McMahon Survivor Series 1998 style. And Priest is just fucking livid. He grabs a hold of Punk and he's got him in the corner. And that's when Punk delivers a dick kick right to Priest. And what I liked about this is how a dick kick to McIntyre. What I liked about this is McIntyre looked legitimately like why would you do this to me? Like, McIntyre grabbed a hold of Punk and he's shaking him in the corner. And when he got kicked, he was just like, you've got to be, it almost looked like his feelings were hurt. It was really funny. And so he got dick kicked, and then that allowed Damian Priest to hit the South of Heaven. Now, of course, the original referee is woken up from his bump and he gets the 1, 2, 3 on Drew McIntyre. The crowd really got quiet for that. Punk was still celebrating a little bit in the aisleway, but the look on Drew's face was like almost like disbelief and heartache. And I just think that from a character standpoint, McIntyre absolutely has to be out for blood now. I don't know how he's not. That's why I think when Punk said in the scrum that he's not going to be on Raw Monday in Corpus Christi, he's going to be on SmackDown in his hometown of Chicago instead. I think Drew McIntyre is going to crash that party and fuck Punk up. He has to. His character has to at this point. A lot of fans who love McIntyre really wanted to see this moment from him tonight. I would assume on social media right now, they're saying things like, WWE made McIntyre look weak and blah, 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 right? Well, you would think that McIntyre's character also has to think that. Punk made me look weak, and I'm not weak. And then he just uses that as his motivation to fuel his rage, and he attacks CM Punk on Friday in Chicago, maybe not even in the ring, just in the parking garage when Punk is leaving or something. Like what Punk has, maybe Punk's got Larry with him, maybe even his wife is there, and they're all leaving together as one big happy family, climbing into their Kia Sporta and driving off, I don't know, whatever. And then McIntyre just shows up and just destroys Punk in front of his wife and his dog. Bloodies him up. And I mean, it needs to be worse than what Braun Breaker did to Ricochet on Monday. I mean, it needs to be like pools of blood, limbs being chopped off shit, because McIntyre should be that mad. His character should be that mad at CM Punk. So we'll see. But I know now that it feels likely that the SummerSlam match is going to be McIntyre and Punk. I think that's going to be great. Hopefully they can capture just a fraction of what Punk and Brock did 11 years ago in 2013. And hopefully Punk is just healthy and the matches are good once him and Priest finally get their hands on each other, which should be coming soon. But yeah, the finish of the match, if people have complaints about it, I understand. I understand. The few that I saw so far, it was predictable. It made Drew look like a jackass, maybe a little bit, but I don't think it's unrecoverable. And I think that McIntyre will still get, that story told, even though it doesn't look like the World Championship is really in his reach right now. We do have the Money in the Bank coming up, and now you got Jey Uso and probably Drew McIntyre could be the odds-on favorites to pick that thing up, and that would be a good way for McIntyre to maybe beat Gunther for the championship if Gunther wins at SummerSlam, and then McIntyre is the briefcase holder, and then maybe McIntyre beats Gunther. And then maybe it's Gunther and McIntyre at Bash at Berlin for the title, and then Gunther wins it back there. That's a lot of hot potatoing, though. I mean, that is like Attitude Era level belt-changing frequency if something like that were to happen. But you could have Gunther, you could have Punk and Drew at SummerSlam. Drew wins or loses, whatever. It doesn't matter if he's the briefcase holder. Then Gunther beats Priest, wins the championship. McIntyre cashes in on Gunther, and then Gunther gets his rematch against Drew at Bash at Berlin and maybe beats Drew there. I don't know. That's too much. That would put like 5 or 6 world title changes in like 4 or 5 months. Too much. But you never know. Lots of different types of scenarios we could see. Oh, okay, now whoever Taylor Moyes seems upset. Oh, I don't see anything wrong with what he's saying. Okay, yeah, you don't like the booking, but that's fine. We're all different people. Don't let your emotions get the better of you, man. Just breathe. Just think about something. None of this is that serious. So if I'm just saying, oh, okay, I like this. Come on, Greg, this is crap booking. This is bullshit, and you're slobbering out of your mouth. Just chill, man. Just chill, Taylor. It's all good. It's wrestling. It's wrestling. It's wrestling. Y'all get yourselves so mad in your own homes, and I don't understand why. Just chill. That wasn't even that big of a deal. Well, you're going off. Drew, okay, well, Triple H, okay, well, he's just, okay, now, see, Taylor, I will accept your comments, but now you're whining and being a bitch. You're a bigger bitch than everybody you're calling a bitch. You're mad at Triple H or the crap booking and blah, blah, blah. Well, you're the snot-nosed crying little bitch, so why don't you go to timeout? Or how do I get rid of you? Let me see. Go to channel. Okay, let's get rid of Taylor because you are crying too much. Too much crying. You crying, boy? Remember in Joe Dirt? You crying? You crying, boy? All right, we'll do that. We're going to hide you. So you might still be able to cry, Taylor, but nobody's going to see you. I'm sorry. Just don't be so mad. Why are y'all so mad? Why are wrestling fans always so mad? God damn. Get a life, man. Get a life. All right, we got Michael Cuomo is back, 22-month member. Good to see you, my buddy. Just finished up my 12-hour shift. Damn. Now have something to listen to on my hour drive home. 12-hour shift followed by an hour drive home? Bro, you don't deserve that. Only got to see the IC and World Heavyweight title matches. It's worth checking out that I Quit, Michael, for sure. Check it out, and hopefully we are giving you some entertainment on the way home. Superman Bass Fish. Now this, I understand that. Like, Drew didn't deserve that, and I liked the look on his face. I felt like he told that story. That's why if people like Taylor or whatever want to be upset about this finish, no problem. I see your point. I don't see your point in crying about it for an hour and a fucking half, but I understand what you are saying if you are a Drew McIntyre fan or if you're someone that thought Drew McIntyre needed this opportunity. But fans live in the moment. They don't think big picture ever about anything. And what I've been trying to hammer home before this show took place so nobody would be surprised, I said, you got to remember the Gunther match. Gunther has secured a championship match at SummerSlam. That's done. But Drew McIntyre and Gunther isn't going to be the match. How many times do I have to fucking say that? We know that McIntyre and Gunther isn't going to be the match at SummerSlam. Not because it would be a bad match. What are you saying? You don't want Gunther and Drew? No, it's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's not the match they're going to do. That's not the story they're telling. The story they're telling is Drew and Punk. That is our SummerSlam match. So if Gunther is getting the title shot and McIntyre wins the title, now you're doing Drew and Gunther starting a whole nother program when Drew hasn't paid off his other one. Does that make any sense to you? No. So it's not going to be Drew and Gunther. So the only way Drew won the title here tonight is if he dropped it again before SummerSlam. Some people might not have a problem with that, but I think hot potatoing the belt that much might be a little too much for modern times. In 1998, it would have been totes normal, but maybe not now to do that many frequent title changes. And you'd essentially be giving McIntyre the belt just so he can get that moment in front of his homeland, just to come back and drop it again. I'm not sure how fair that would have been to him either. So for everybody that thinks that Drew was done wrong, if you're saying that, did you really want Drew versus Gunther? And if you did, that's fine. If you wanted Drew versus Gunther at SummerSlam, that's fine. But there's nothing about the story on television that we've been seeing that's pointing to that at all. Gunther and Drew, I'm sure, will happen again, but Gunther and Drew happening at SummerSlam is right in the middle of too much other shit going on, especially if the point is to put the belt on Gunther at SummerSlam. So even if Drew won, and then let's say the match with Punk didn't happen because Punk's not cleared, he's still going to drop it to Gunther anyway. So what are we mad about here? What are we mad about here? That Drew didn't get a 2-month run? He was done wrong because he wasn't given another short cup of coffee with the title? Because that's all this would have been. He would have either, if Drew would have won tonight, two things would have happened. He would have either dropped it before SummerSlam so he can work with Punk, or he would drop it at SummerSlam to Gunther. So either way, Drew winning here does not make him champion at the end of the summer. So what the fuck are we yelling about? So I understand in the context of the match, if you just judge the match for itself, McIntyre, home country, title shot, main event, already got screwed out of this opportunity once before. This is his night. And then it doesn't happen. What? I can't believe it didn't happen. Well, let's think about why it didn't happen. Because Gunther has got the fucking title shot at SummerSlam. And Drew McIntyre is involved in a feud with CM Punk. So if McIntyre wins the title here, he can't defend against CM Punk at SummerSlam because Gunther's got the match. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying for the rage-filled fans out there that are really, really mad, disappointed, pissed off, or feels like WWE made some huge, horrible, horrific booking decision and look like idiots and are crap booking and Triple H sucks and McIntyre's a weak pussy and whatever the hell you're slobbering, drooling mad about. Just think about how that would have worked if Drew would have won. You'd have to do another title switch or something else quick and fast, maybe even burn a Money in the Bank somehow, which I don't want to see that. And I think it might be just as fun to see McIntyre win the Money in the Bank. And now he's got that, and that's going to be his insurance policy. And he's going to fucking wait and just bide his time and get his belt back once he's done murdering Phillip Brooks. That's how I feel like this is going. So in the context of that, I see why Drew lost tonight. I see why he lost, but if you're just living in the moment like a fucking cat and you only remember what happened 6 hours before and 6 hours or 6 hours before your life, and you're only going to remember 6 hours later, then yes, I can understand why you're upset. If you have no attention span whatsoever, then yeah, I get it. But if you think about things and you kind of see the general landscape of what is WWE's summer of 2024 right now, there's really not a place for Drew to be champion right now. There's too much other shit going on. It's about to be Gunther's time. He's embroiled in this crazy feud with CM Punk that's going to get even more bloody and more bitter and more crazy and can be just as fun. You know, how many times have fans said that? This feud doesn't need the title. How often do we have to hear people fucking repeat that bullshit all the time? But this is a case where it's true. McIntyre and Punk have got enough heat, and there's enough personal deep-seated issues here between these two guys that they can have a bonkers-ass program without any need to have any belts on the line at all. They can explore world championship aspirations after their deal is done. So in the context of Drew getting screwed again in his home country, I can understand fan disappointment about that. But you shouldn't be shocked. And to say things like, to make a booking decision make you so mad that you automatically assume that the company must not know what they're doing, it's only you that understands. Come on. What the fuck is wrong with some of y'all? Oh, God. And Superman Bassfisher is also gifting out a membership to Danny and Oak Park. So, Superman Bassfisher, your Drew really didn't deserve that comment. Those are the ones I agree with because Drew told me that story with his face. When Punk dick kicked him, I felt bad. I felt bad for Drew. Briefly. I really did. I'm like, oh, the heartbreak on his face. He's going to turn that heartbreak and morph it and transform it into a murderous rage, which is going to be nice to see. But there is that feeling of, oh, he didn't deserve that. And I understand that sentiment. What I don't understand is people flipping out. They, oh, WWE is crap and I'm never watching them again. What are you, 5? Are you 5? Come on. It's fucking wrestling. Let's see. Do you think Drew losing 2 big matches in his home country hurts him long term? No, I don't. I feel like the Roman match was worse than this one, to be honest. Because the Roman match felt like, I remember predicting him that night. Hey, buddy, my cat is here. Make the jump. He's jumping. Go. He takes, see how my whole desk rattles here? But I feel like the first Clash of the Castle, when he lost to Roman, I predicted him to win that night. I thought that was going to be it. But instead he lost, and then he sang a duet with Tyson Fury. And they had that strongman guy in the front row tonight. I'm like, oh God, I hope they don't sing a duet with him when this is over. I was actually more bummed for Drew at the last one. At least with this one, it's Punk screwing him over, not Solo Sikoa. Who gives a fuck about Solo Sikoa, who debuted that night? This is a top wrestling star that Drew is feuding with. They're going to have a top-notch marquee match on the SummerSlam card this year. So even though, yeah, you're not champion, let's not pretend that Drew's being unfairly treated. He's in one of their top angles working with one of the hottest named wrestlers, a guy who was absent for 10 years, and they still chanted his name. So I don't look at this as like Drew has been done wrong. Maybe in the match when he got dick kicked, I'm like, oh, I feel bad for him. But really at the end of the day, no, McIntyre's fine. McIntyre's fine. Oh, Mark Simpson thinks Randy is taking Cody's title. I don't think so. I mean, I feel like when we get to SummerSlam, it would be fair to start speculating about Cody dropping the title, but not before then. So at SummerSlam, maybe giving Randy one more run. Maybe they pass the belt back and forth. You know how Randy and McIntyre did? Didn't they do a belt trade during their feud a couple years ago? So maybe Cody and Randy, Cody has Randy win the title. Randy cheats to win or something like that. Or maybe they go into the match as a babyface match. Randy turns heel in the match. Or Randy goes heel before, beats Cody, and then Cody wins the title back from him. Maybe at a show this fall or something like that. I don't know. But Mark thinks it's going to be Randy. So Randy just returned after the King of the Ring last night. So Isaac is saying he might address that this coming Friday. And that's possible too, because we saw his shoulder up in the finish of the King of the Ring. So when he comes back to TV, he's got to be like, I either want another shot at Gunther or I want my title shot too. And he might wind up getting it versus Cody Rhodes. It just depends on how it's going to come about. If they're going to do a 6-man versus the Bloodline and there's going to be some dissension or miscommunication between Cody and Randy that leads to it, or if Randy just flat out man-to-man asks Cody, hey, can I have a shot at your championship? Based on everything that we went through together, I taught you, brought you into this world, or was a part of it or whatever, and taught you a lot. I think the least you could do is thank me with a title shot type of thing, and we could get to it that way. But we will see. Oh, I'm not seeing what this is referencing. Something about a ref screwing up spot. What are you referencing here, Superman? What does the ref stand on the... When does the ref stand on the apron? Oh, are you talking about like the ref bump? Okay, yeah. So I think you're talking about the finish there. Yeah, I mean, the ref bump was a little lame because it just was like a little bit too predictable. But I did think the referee part was cute, where Punk came in there as the referee. Kind of decent. Oh, that's right, Juliet. Good point. And by the way, thank you for the $2. You were right about the tag titles. I know. I think I'm the only one that picked those two. And $2 from Stone Cold as well. I'm a Drew fan, and I'm excited for Drew and Punk. Yeah, he didn't get the title here, but sometimes it's not always about the title. There's plenty of programs that are bigger than championship programs. And I think McIntyre and Punk is a more interesting issue to me on Raw than what Priest is doing, and Priest is the champion. So being the champion doesn't just automatically mean that all is well in your world. I just think, some fans really wanted him to get the win here tonight. And I understand. And yeah, Juliet says Triple H has already promised another match between Orton and Gunther. I think they did kind of say that the night of King of the Ring. So we might get that. We might get some interpromotional match, or maybe they do that at Money in the Bank. Randy Orton versus Gunther, and then the winner of that goes to SummerSlam or something. And then maybe there's a chance that Gunther doesn't get the title shot. If they do a rematch or something, and they put Gunther's SummerSlam title shot on the line against Randy Orton, and then Randy Orton wins it, you could do that. If McIntyre would have won the title tonight, you could have done that and had Orton and Gunther wrestle. Orton takes the title shot away from Gunther. That way McIntyre can defend his title against Punk at SummerSlam. You could do it that way, I suppose. But I think that now when McIntyre and Punk face each other, McIntyre's going to have to beat him, y'all. He is. He's going to have to beat him. So look for that. At least if you're a big Drew McIntyre fan, at least you should feel comfortable knowing that when McIntyre and Punk finally face off, that McIntyre probably will win. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that, but I would think based on how badly Punk screwed McIntyre over, that Drew is going to have to beat Punk, probably along the same lines of how Brock beat Punk in 2013. I think they should have a match as close to like that as they can, in my mind. Okay, so never mind. Juliet is very good at setting me straight, correcting me. Triple H has already said that Gunther's title shot is secured. It's just the match that's being rerun. Okay, so Triple H says does not matter. He's getting the title shot. Okay, so then scrap that. That's why we didn't see McIntyre win the title tonight. It's moot anyway, because that would really only work. Taking the title shot away from Gunther would only work, I think, if McIntyre was champ and you wanted McIntyre and Punk to be the title match at SummerSlam. Otherwise, it's probably going to be Gunther and Damian Priest, and that will probably be the end for Priest, and that's perfectly fine. So, off the top of our heads right now, we're going to get Drew and Punk at SummerSlam, probably Priest and Gunther, probably Cody and Randy, right? So that's another one. We're going to get Bayley and Nia Jax. I'm hoping we get Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley if Rhea Ripley is back by then. I think Chad Gable will win the IC title as well, maybe either at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. So SummerSlam's looking pretty good. It's weird, too. We got 2 more years of regular SummerSlams until we get the 2-night SummerSlam. The 2-night SummerSlam is not until 2026. So it's the 3 SummerSlams from now. That's when we're going to get the 2-night deal there. But I think this year's card is looking pretty good. So there you have it. There is my Clash at the Castle 2024 review in a nutshell. I got to get out of here. I've got some friends in town, so I'm going to go to a pool party and a little barbecue and hang out and drink some frosty brews in the nice warm sun. So wish me luck on that. I want to thank you guys for being here this evening. This was a fun little show to review here. I am sorry for anyone that is upset about McIntyre winning. I feel your pain. Unless you're going to be someone like Taylor Moyes who's going to scream and yell about it, then fuck off. But if you're a little bit disappointed and you think Drew, deserved better or got played or didn't deserve that or whatever, I totally respect that opinion. But I think in terms of the plans going through SummerSlam, WWE kept the belt on who they needed to keep the belt on here tonight, because Drew just would not have made sense since Gunther has the locked-in title shot. I cannot stress that enough. So we're going to be here the next couple of days. We're going to be here tomorrow night. We're going to watch King of the Ring in 1999. The link to that watch-along is already up on the channel right now. So join us tomorrow night at normal time for that. And then on Monday, we're definitely going to be here for a Raw review from Corpus Christi, because apparently we are going to get the debut of Uncle Howdy. And I have a feeling we're also going to get the ending of American Alpha. Not American Alpha, Alpha Academy. I always get them confused. I'm glad this faction is coming to an end so we can call Gable's new faction something else. I don't know if they'll be Alpha Academy. They might be the Gable Stable. Oh, yeah. The Gable Stable. The Gable Stable. That's what they need to do. That's what they need to call them. So I have a feeling we're going to see that. We're probably going to see either a very pissed off Drew McIntyre. Maybe he skips the show. He's so mad he doesn't even want to be on Raw, and he shows up on Friday instead. And then Damian Priest, I'm sure, will be celebrating. He might even be confronted by Gunther, and we're going to start seeing Money in the Bank participants coming together. So probably a lot going on Monday, and we will be here to talk about all of it. Thank you so much for watching today. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon. Have a good one, and I will